na puro ikabubuti ng sambay ng Pilipinong iniisip.
We utilize this power in order to restructure our society, economic, social, and political.
Yan din ang pinahahalagahan ni Pangulong Duterte. Nagkataon lang na may mga alipores pa rin mo, libreng ibinigay ng Diyos ang supply ng tubig na dapat ay pinakikinabangan ng mamamayan ng libre at walang bayad ay ginawang commodity ng mga oligarko at may share of stocks pa ang mga gahamang oligarko at yung iba ay mga foreigners pa. Wow, kawawang Pilipino. Nagdiriwang ng Independence Day tuwing June 12 pero hanggang ngayon ay pinaghaharian ng mga foreigners sa pamamagitan ng pagkontrol sa ating ekonomiya kasabwat ang mga landed oligarchs sa ating bansa. Tama talaga si Marcos. Tama talaga si Duterte. Hindi makakahulagpo sa kahirapan ng Pilipinas kapag hindi nawasak ang sistemang oligarkiya sa bansa.
Ako ng gana. At sabihin ko, nagsisi ako. Kasi akala ko, within the constitutional powers na binigay sa akin, kaya ko. But truth to tell, kung araw-araw na lang, pati every table dito sa Pilipinas, ganun, hindi ko talaga mahabol. Kaya ko. Pero sa batas na ito, Constitution, even if you give me 20 years, I cannot do it. Maghanap uli kayo ng Marcos. Truth to tell, kung araw-araw na lang, pati every table dito sa Pilipinas, ganun, hindi ko talaga mahabol. Kaya ko. Pero sa batas na ito, Constitution, even if you give me 20 years, I cannot do it. Maghanap uli kayo ng Marcos. Or someday, somehow, somewhere, that fellow will be elected in the generations to come. Pero kung sabihin mo, mag-improve tayo beyond the level that we find ourselves economically, that fellow will be elected 20 years, I cannot do it. Maghanap uli kayo ng Marcos. Or someday, somehow, somewhere, that fellow will be elected in the generations to come. Pero kung sabihin mo, mag-improve tayo beyond the level that we find ourselves economically, politically, well, I'm sorry, I'm telling you, hindi dadating. Not even half what Hong Kong will be in 30 years. Sobra kasi ang, I don't know, but the Constitution that I'm not trying to criticize. It is as good as any. Mas buti pa kung wala.
Pero kailangang tumindig ang sambay ng Pilipinas.
Sa Mindanao and everywhere else, yung mga mina napupunta yan sa mga oligarch. Walang iba yang ginawa kung hindi mag-influence peddling. Nakilala ko ito si Secretary, akong bahala dyan. Pare, pwede ba to? Pwede ba yan? Malaki to, baka gusto mo, ate. And it's true all over the Philippines. That is why I am fighting a monster.
Country in the world today. With a smile he said, the Philippines.
The Philippines is the richest nation on earth. The wisest royal bloodlines on earth go from China all the way to the Philippines. In fact, all the way to Hawaii.
Assets, it's gold. It's more gold than people know about. It's over 1 million metric tons of gold. It is in a special trust account that was set up by Ferdinand Marcos, and the authorized signatory is a German banker lawyer.
$1 million. Oh my goodness. Is it million? Billion? Billion? 240 billion? Only one.
Mysteries. What could this be? So this is some sort of treasury certificate. It's a slightly fuzzy.
No, you don't anymore because this is dangerous already. No. Look.
I had a photographic memory, I can tell you what it was, but it's, however, I can't show you. But it shows deposits in the name of Ferdinand Marcos in a bank in Brussels, and it's for $987 billion. 900. Can we show the camera?
No. All of that. All the mines, all the banks,
of the world, 170 banks of the world. Now I have the bill of lading. And these are all U.S. government exhibits.
Are about to learn one of the biggest secrets in the history of the world. It's a secret that has huge effects for everyone who lives on this planet.
The point is, Ferdinand Marcos, I want you to follow my radio show so I can teach you the history of the father of the Philippines, Ferdinand Marcos. I've studied this all my life, on and on and on and on, learning and learning, and it's all coming true now. It's not a legend. It's not a urban legend. It's reality. The Philippines is the richest nation on earth. The wisest royal bloodlines on earth go from China all the way to the Philippines. In fact, all the way to Hawaii. And you can't argue with me because I know the truth. That's why I serve you. Now, the footstool of God is the Philippines.
Assets, it's gold. It's more gold than people know about. It's over 1 million metric tons of gold.
The Marcoses, will open everything.
To help me implement the last will and testament of the late President Marcos.
But it shows deposits in the name of Ferdinand Marcos in a bank in Brussels, and it's for 987 billion dollars. Can we show the camera?
Just to show you the bill of lading, how much is $240 million. Oh my goodness. Is it million? Billion? Billion? 240 billion? Only one sheet.
It's over 1 million metric tons of gold. And the World Bank and the IMF have a special role to play, making sure that that money is spent to the benefit of humanity.
So where's the gold? Some people believe that the gold in Fort Knox has disappeared. That's been in question for many years. Congressmen have attempted to get an audit of the gold in Fort Knox. So 1 million metric tons of gold is not something you can just hide. Where would you say that that gold is being stored?
400,000 metric tons are in the Central Bank of the Philippines. There's over 200,000 metric tons in Union Bank of Switzerland. And some of that gold is buried securely in the Philippines as well. Some of it is held in various banks, but the bulk of it is in the Philippines. That there is a special trust that contains just about all of the world's gold. It was established by Ferdinand Marcos. This gold, people want to know what the gold is. It's
You're referring to the president of the Philippines, of the former president of the Philippines who died in '89, correct?
That's correct. That's who, except, it's not clear about the exact date of his death because he had a cousin who, he was removed. He was removed by the CIA. It was not by a popular uprising. You know how the CIA stages these things. And he was sent off to Hawaii. But he had expected that this was going to happen, and he had gotten his cousin to stand in for him. So he was it was his cousin that was in Hawaii, captive. But anyway, what Ferdinand Marcos did was he took the world's gold. I was explaining what is the world's gold. It's gold from King Solomon. It's gold that the conquistadors in Spain gathered up from the Aztec and Inca civilizations. It is gold that was gathered by General Yamashita between World War I and World War II. And what the banks did when they gathered up the gold, they issued certificates to the wealthy people who had the gold, and those certificates had interest that was payable in gold. And the interest has been compounding. What Ferdinand Marcos did was he put the gold in a trust for benefit of humanity. And he said that the trust would be for 50 years. The reason he did this, he was a lawyer, and he knew that if somebody claims that they own something and they are not able to prove their claim for 50 years, that claim is extinguished. That's a legal concept called statute of limitations.
Order is back. Loud, proud, and beautifully shod. And she does appear to be genuinely popular with some Filipinos. The Philippines government has seized more than £400 million from accounts in Switzerland. But the puzzle of her remaining riches is locked up in bewildering legal cases and contested documents.
Just look at this. This is all
This is an envelope with Belgium on the front of it. The mysteries, what could this be? So this is some sort of treasury certificate. It's slightly fuzzy.
No, you don't anymore because it is dangerous already. No, look.
If only I had a photographic memory, I could tell you what it was. But it's, alright, we can't show you. But it shows deposits in the name of Ferdinand Marcos in a bank in Brussels, and it's for $987 billion. 900? Can we show the camera?
You know,
such a huge sum surely can't be genuine. But with Imelda, who knows? Like armies of lawyers, I failed to unravel the mystery of Imelda's billions.
this is shallow waters.
But I did get a very interesting and very long presentation on her plans to end poverty and build a tunnel through the Philippines that would solve the world's trade problems. Just in this room alone, could you talk us through some of the paintings? Who's
The Madonna,
the Madonna? Who's that artist?
that is a Michelangelo Madonna.
This is a Michelangelo.
Michelangelo Madonna.
And this one?
That's a Pizarro.
Pizarro. And then over here, this is a Picasso.
Yeah. This is a Gauguin.
That's a Gauguin.
Yeah.
How did you manage to get so many extraordinary, lovely things?
Well, my husband was the lawyer of gold mines and also a gold trader. And he loved gold so much. He would always tell me, sweetheart, he said, it's hard to earn money honestly and properly, but harder still to spend money properly. You be the one to spend. And then I said, why? And then he said to me, because all you buy is beauty.
It sounds like a perfect relationship then. He earned the money.
Yes.
And you spent it.
Spent it, right. And I just did not leave it in gold. I bought paintings, beautiful jewelry, beautiful silver, anything beautiful.
But when President Marcos was acquiring all this money and giving it to you to spend, did you think it was his money, or did you look on it as money, the money of the Philippines, of the Philippines people?
Oh no, I knew it was his money because I saw this gold already in his home.
You were rich even before you became
He was rich.
leaders of the country.
He was rich. Oh, definitely.
And that has always been Imelda's line. Thank you. Her husband, Ferdinand Marcos, was a staggeringly successful investor in gold who made billions.
Manila Polo Club over there.
We didn't use the Filipino treasury as our own personal cash machine. And if you think we did, prove it. And so far, despite hundreds of court cases, no one really has. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about your shoes.
Lady, how much is $240 million? Oh my goodness. Is it million? Billion? Billion. Billion? 240 billion? Only one shipment. And these are plenty of shipments. And then 5 sketches. When we started, it was $32 and then $35. an ounce of gold. She's talking of gold.
Now, it's 1,300, 400, 500, 600, 800, nag-iiba-iba eh.
Iba-iba.
Ounce yan.
How many kilos?
And we are sitting on gold.
But the most urgent reason I was looking forward to my coming to this hearing of the Philippine Senate is to seek your help, honorable senators, to help me implement the last will and testament of the late President Marcos to enlist assets in the hands of trustees, to implement the Marcos Humanitarian Foundation so that we can help the country in our economic crisis and help the Filipino people in their agony and suffering.
The Marcoses, I will not name the spokesman, and probably return yung nakita lang. Sabi nila na malaki ang deficit mo sa, maybe this year ang projected deficit spending would be big, sabi niya, baka makatulong. Pero hindi ito malaki. But we are ready to open and bring back, sabi niya, pati yung IFU gold bars. Hindi ganon kalaki, it's not the Fort Knox. It's just IFU, but sabi nila, isauli nila, para walang ano. And the only reason really was, sabi nila, that the father was protecting the economy, and of course, the eventual kung maalis siya. But he was thought of regaining the Malacanang, and that is why ganito ang lumabas, parang naitago. I will accept the explanation. Whether or not it is to, wala na yan. And they are ready to return. How much they would give me an accounting. Trying to look for a guy not identified with anybody to handle the negotiation kung gusto nila. I'm looking at the former Chief Justice. Sila na lang mag-usap. Then another CPA and maybe a representative of all that is accepted also by all. So that
Respeto, pinararangalan, ginagalang, kinatatakutan, hindi inuuto at hindi hinahadlangan sa national economic progress nito. Gusto ni Marcos maibalik ang dating kaluwalhatian ng ating bansa na nagsilbing sentro ng kalakalan noong unang panahon, may sariling sandatahang mandirigma at nirerespeto sa imperyong Malaya na siyang nag-dominate sa Timog Silangang Asya noong sinaunang panahon. Si Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. ang taong matagal na nating hinahanap. Siya ang man of the hour. Siya ang magtatapos ng inumpisahan ng kanyang ama, ang magpapatuloy ng pangitain ito. Of course, sa tulong ng nagkakaisang sambay ng Pilipino na ginising na ng Diyos ang kanilang kamalayan at diwa sa buong katotohanan. This nation shall be great again. Maharlika shall rise again. Si Pangulong Duterte, conscious man siya o hindi, ay ginamit ng Diyos Ama upang maalis ang mga kaliskis sa mga mata ng maraming mga Pilipino na nagpapabulag sa kanila. Piring na inilagay ng Diablo sa paningin ng mga tao upang mabulag sila sa katotohanan. Ginamit ng Diyos si Duterte upang maging forerunner ni Marcos. Katulad ni Juan Bautista na pinadala ng Diyos upang ihanda ang daraanan ng Mesiyas sa bagong tipan, ay sa ganung ding paraan ay ipinadala niya si Pangulong Duterte upang ihanda ang lalakaran at dadaanan ng taong gagamitin ng Diyos na magsasalba sa ekonomiya at lahi ng bansang Pilipinas. Si Bongbong Marcos ang itinakda ang pagbabalik ni Ferdinand Marcos sa kasalukuyang panahon upang tubusin ang bansa mula sa masalimuot na pagkakasadlak nito sa kamay ng mga oligarko at mga tulisang ganid sa ating lipunan at mula sa matinding kahirapan. Tulad ni Joseph the Dreamer sa Biblia na anak ni Jacob, ipinagkanulo siya ng kanyang mga kapatid at ipinagbili sa Ehipto upang maging alipin doon. Lahat ng uri ng pang-aalimura, pang-aalipusta at pang-akusa ay ginawa sa kanya. Subalit sa tamang panahon ay naganap ang pangitain na ibinigay ng Diyos sa kanya at ito ang pagdating ng araw na luluhod sa kanya ang kanyang buong pamilya at buong bayan ng Israel. Pagkalipas ng mahabang panahon, si Joseph the Dreamer din ang ginamit ng Diyos upang isalba ang Israel mula sa matinding kahirapan na kanilang dinanas. Ang pamilyang inalipusta at inalimura sa loob ng 3 dekada ay siya rin magsasalba sa ating bansa bilang katuparan sa pangitain na ibinigay ng Diyos kay Pangulong Marcos. Katulad ng katuparan ng pangitain ni Joseph, magaganap din ang katuparan ng vision of greatness and one common destiny na nag-aantay sa sambay ng Pilipino sa lalong madaling panahon at hindi ito magluluwat.
I'm
panawagan ng panahon ngayon ay para sa tunay at makabuluhang pagkakaisa. Pagkakaisa ng bawat Pilipino, pagkakaisa ng ating bansa, Pilipino, kapwa Pilipino, nagtutulungan, nagmamahalan. Taas noo dahil tayo ay Pilipino. Yan ang hamon ng panahon. Yan ang hamon sa atin ng bagong henerasyon para sa maliwalas at masiglang kinabukasan. Sama-sama nating harapin ang hamon ng panahon. Magkapit-bisig tayo at isigaw sa buong bansa na hindi tayo makakapayag na magtagumpay ang mapanirang politiko at politika na siyang dahilang ng pagkakawatak-watak ng Pilipino. Magkapit-bisig tayo at isigaw natin sa buong bansa na ang Pilipino ay nagkakaisa tungo sa isang malaya at masiglang Pilipinas. Sa tulong ninyo at ng bayan, pamumunuan ko ang isang revolusyon sa puso, isip at gawa tungo sa isang tunay at makabuluhang pagbabago. Pamumunuan ko rin ang isang kampanya upang makamit natin ang ating mga pangarap sa buhay. Hindi ako makapapayag na mawala sa atin ang ilang bahagi ng ating bansa. Ipaglalaban ko ang integridad ng ating mahal na Pilipinas. Ibabalik natin ang respeto at paggalang ng buong mundo sa Pilipino. Ibabalik natin sa tulong ninyo ang pagkilala sa Pilipino bilang isang matalino at magaling na lahi. Ibabalik natin ang ating dignidad. Ibabalik natin ang kultura ng Pilipino na mapagpakumbaba, may takot sa Diyos at mapagmahal sa magulang, sa mga nakakatanda at sa kapwa. Sa tulong ninyo at ng sambayanan, pangungunahan ko rin ang isang revolusyon sa isip at gawa upang marating natin ang ating pinapangarap na isang matahimik, maunlad na bayan at masiglang mamamayan. Dahil dito, taus-puso kong tinatanggap ang hamon ng panahon, ang hamon ng bagong henerasyon. Tinatanggap ko ng buong pagpakumbaba ang hamon ng bayan.
Ganon sa ko. Hindi kami. Nagpapakamatay na itong mga sundalo ko na para sa kanila.
Isipin mo, libreng ibinigay ng Diyos ang supply ng tubig na dapat ay pinakikinabangan ng mamamayan ng libre at walang bayad ay ginawang commodity ng mga oligarko at may share of stocks pa ang mga gahamang oligarko at yung iba ay mga foreigners pa. Wow! Sinupi ng mga rebelde na gumagawa ng mga karahasan sa Mindanao at Northern Luzon. Pinagtibay ni Marcos ang soberanya ng bansa at tinuruan ng mamamayan ng mataas na paggalang sa Diyos at sa kulturang Pilipino.
Now, under the Constitution, anarchy is the legal basis for the proclamation of martial law. Secondly, I had maintained that the Commander-in-Chief provision should be utilized to restructure the society. And radically, we had restructured our society.
Kinaibigan ni Marcos ang iba't ibang mga bansa sa larangan ng diplomasya upang hindi tayo aawayin ng mga bansa. Tinulungan niya ang bawat bansa sa kanilang problema, sa gold reserves at sa workforce. Ang overseas Filipino workers ay mga Pilipinong nakatulong sa iba't ibang mga bansa sa kanilang mga kakulangan sa iba't ibang larangan tulad ng medisina, transportasyon, edukasyon, home economics, siyensya, inhinyero at iba pa. Pati ang bigas noon sa panahon ni Marcos, nag-e-export tayo sa ibang bansa at nagturo ng modernong paraan ng pagbibinhi ng palay sa mga karatig bansa sa Timog Silangang Asya. Ngayon, ano na nangyari sa atin? Gusto ni Marcos at Duterte ng Pilipinas ay maging totally independent mula sa kuko ng mga kanluranin na matagal nang nag-e-exploit ng ating mga natural resources at nagkokontrol ng ating ekonomiya. Nais ni Marcos na bumalik sa pagkamaharlika ang Pilipinas na ang ibig sabihin ay malayang tao at hindi na magiging alipin pa ng mga banyaga. Gusto kasi ng mga banyaga na sila ang papanginuunin ng mga Pilipino bilang mga Pilipinas at iba pang bansa sa Asia at Latin America. Ine-exploit nila ang ating mga kayamanan para sila ang makinabang at hindi tayo. Dahil takot sila na baka magamit natin ang ating mga national treasures, wealth and resources at mahigitan natin sila.
The third world is not poor. You don't go to poor countries to make money. There are very few poor countries in this world. Most countries are rich. The Philippines are rich. Brazil is rich. Mexico is rich. Chile is rich. Only the people are poor. But there's billions to be made there, to be carved out and be taken. There's been billions for 400 years. The capitalist European and North American powers have carved out and taken the timber, the flax, the hemp, the cocoa, the rum, the tin, the copper, the iron, the rubber, the bauxite, the slaves, and the cheap labor. They have taken out of these countries. These countries are not underdeveloped, they're overexploited.
Ang totoo, yan ang dahilan kaya sinako ng sistemang maharlika ni Marcos. Tunay na makabayan, tunay na puro ikabubuti ng sambay ng Pilipinong iniisip.
We utilize this power in order to restructure our society, economic, social, and political.
Yan din ang pinahahalagahan ni Pangulong Duterte. Nagkataon lang na may mga alipores pa rin ang mga dilawang sindikato na palihim na